ज्ञानन्द परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वदी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. Nityanandam, welcome everyone for yet another show during the 45th Chaturmasya celebrations of our beloved Swami G. This has begun from Guru Purnima and we will be celebrating through the Vijayadashami. And every day during the Chaturmasya, we have been listening to Swamiji's satsangs and powerful cognitions from various satsangs that Swamiji has given. Apologies for the technical glitches. Yes, as we were saying, we have been listening to Swamiji's satsangs during the Chaturmasya. Basically, during the Chaturmasya, the entire Hindu community delves into more and more spiritual practices, either by listening to satsang, by more spiritual routines, by doing puja and various spiritual practices. And during this Chaturmasya, every evening we have been listening to Swamiji's satsangs and various powerful cognitions that Swamiji is giving us in various aspects of life, whether it is personal, whether it is in the family level, the society level, or even in the the cosmic level, and providing solutions for various issues, whether it is for the youth, whether it is for children, whether being successful, or even for our own enlightenment. Today, we are going to be looking into a global problem that we are facing, which is the mental health issues, and how Hinduism has provided solution for thousands of years. And Swamiji has revealed these truths from ancient scriptures. And through his initiations and teachings, we have been benefiting from. Today, we have a very special guest, Dr. Peter Bloomfield from Los Angeles, California, who is also a founding father of KAILASA and a dedicated volunteer at KAILASA, Los Angeles, and a Pujacharya. He's here today to share about his experiences as an emergency physician and benefiting from Swamiji's teachings, especially on the mental health issues. How Swamiji's revelations have helped him, as well as a solution for the humanity. Nithyanandamaya. Nithyanandam, welcome and thank you so much for joining us today. And can you please share about yourself? How did you get introduced to Swamiji? Your journey of meeting Swamiji.
Sure. First I'll say I go by Vaitishwara, is the name given by Swami G. Last fall. And so I've been connected to Swami G. I did my first inner awakening in 2014, July, in Hardware. And I've been very closely connected to Swami G and the ecosystem since that time. I had very intense spiritual awakening gradually, but particularly ramped up in 2009 and was a very strong spiritual seeker. And then finally I found Swami G, and the rest is history. It's like once you find Swami G, you don't need to seek anymore for a spiritual teacher, master, tradition, anything. You just go. You found that. Then you just find within that system, you just find who you truly are. So that's the journey I've been on since 2014.
How did that happen? You're an emergency physician working in Los Angeles. From there to Haridwar, Los Angeles to Haridwar. How did that happen?
So I was already very deeply engaged with a different spiritual path, and it was a very fascinating path and very engrossing and compelling. But then I had made a good friends with someone who was a disciple of Swami G, and although my spiritual path was very compelling, one thing that I noticed is that this friend of mine was extremely blissful, and that had not been part of my spiritual path. And I just, you could say there were various side effects with the spiritual path I was on as well that were not nice, that I was not enjoying. And I didn't really, although it was very compelling, I didn't really think it was going in the way I wanted to go in life, which made me open to other ideas and discussions and all that. So then I did a program in UI Yoga in, I think it was like June of 2024. I'm sorry, 2014. And that was the first time I did a more comprehensive program. I had done a Kalpataru Darshan, but that time I didn't, it wasn't as long of a program, you could say. Anyway, I had a very clear experience that night, which was very mystical and probably beyond the scope of this discussion. That told me I need to go meet this guy. Drop everything and go meet this guy. And so I did. So I rearranged my schedule, and next thing you know, I was on a plane to Haridwar, and there it was. And the thing that I'll share, it's like a moment that's hard to put into words, and usually it can precipitate emotion. So be forewarned. But I'll never forget the moment when I was sitting in the hotel. We were all getting like checked in, and I was just sitting in Padmasana on a table in the hotel while all this hubbub was going on. People from all over the world coming, getting checked in, and then Swami Jesus just walked in with a couple of his swamis. And the moment I laid eyes on him, it was just like any questions I had about the program were completely irrelevant. Even you could say any questions I had about life were irrelevant. And it was just like my whole being just like my whole being just smiled. Like every cell in my body, there was like a big smile. At the soul level, it's just a huge smile. And I was like, okay, let's go. Let's see what's next. So that moment is such a strong moment I'll never forget.
So beautiful, Aya. I think that one moment was the answer for all your questions, for all your lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. And you brought up a very important point, Aya, that the spiritual path that you were in before, where there were side effects, whatever path that you were in. That's very true, though, because when you do not have the right guru and giving the right initiation, even the Kundalini awakening, which most people are, very attracted to, having the Kundalini awakening and Shakti energy, all of that. But when that initiation is not given by the right master, by an enlightened master, that could have side effects. But of course, for us, we have Paramashiva himself awakening the Kundalini Shakti as well as the third eye, giving the powers, all the powers of Paramashiva. So we are so blessed. So, and today, I wanted to hear a lot from you, because especially being an emergency physician, the kind of stress that you would have been facing, right? You would face normally in your job. And given this experience, initiation by Swamiji and after meeting Swamiji, how was your journey? How was your life before and after meeting Swamiji as a physician, as an emergency physician in that?
So my situation is a little bit unique because even before I met Swami G, even before my spiritual path really started, I had a spontaneous, you could say spontaneous, but not really, Kundalini awakening. Means I hadn't sat for any initiation or anything. It just happened. And so already I was experiencing, if anyone who's had a Kundalini awakening knows, when your Kundalini awakens and you have not done a huge amount of completion and detox process, which is things we could touch upon. And you're full of physical toxins, and then you're also full of emotional toxins from this life, maybe from your family line, maybe from past lives, all of that. When the Kundalini awakens and those things have not been resolved, it's very emotionally intense. And so I was very well trained as an emergency doctor, and I was the awakening started even during my training, but after my training, it went to the next level. And so it just made it very difficult for me to work because it's a very intense job. Depending on where you work in the environment and all that, there's some variability. But no matter where you are at any moment, someone can come in dead or dying, and you have to keep them alive, right? You cannot let them go. So there's no point in any time when you can really drop your guard. So it's a very intense job that way. And so it was very, at that time, before I went to see Swami G, I was, like I said, I was also on a different path, which was not a dharmic path. It was a more Western style path. And that was creating its own other complications. And so I was just feeling very stressed about the job and not sure how or if I even wanted to do it. And you could say struggling in that area, but keeping my head above water, you could say. So that was before. And then from that time, you could say, my throat is a little raspy, please bear with me. You could say, from the first inner awakening I did with Swami G, so much, it's been ongoing, intense completion since that time. And my financial situation, suddenly I wanted to work more in new jobs, new places. And easily I could get, as an ER doctor, you can work in multiple places if you want. So I picked up a couple of new jobs. At one point I was working 4 jobs, making, way more money than I needed. And the intensity was still there to a degree, but my capacity to handle it was much higher. And so it just became, I was really able to do some work at a much higher level. And my whole financial situation totally changed. Everything changed. And then what's happened, I'm still working as an emergency doctor, but now it feels mostly like I don't want to say it's not challenging, but the level of challenge is very small relative to the level of the being that has opened up through my spiritual work and my connection with Swami Ji. So it doesn't feel like, it doesn't test me like it did, you could say. And so now, I mean, it can just be really blissful and fun, and in a way that it wasn't there, 10, 15 years ago. And so now, my main challenges come through spiritual work and building sangha and all that, right? Where being an emergency doctor is a challenging job, no doubt, but it doesn't feel as challenging as it did in the past, if that makes sense.
Definitely, Aya. That's how Swamiji's initiations and how he empowers us, especially in, Swamiji always says that there's some things that need to be removed and something that need to be added. Well, that removing of these, what Swamiji called as the samskaras, the engraved memories, the root patterns, the pains that we have carried, not only from this birth, maybe from many, many births. How Swamiji, after removing that, after he cleanses all of that, that stress on us is not there. And, more than the actuality, we project or we suffer a lot more than what it is, what the situation is. Naturally, when, that is all good, we are more blissful. And in the journey of inner awakening, right, it is not, just, okay, come here and your Kundalini Shakti is awakened, as you said, right? A lot of things that need to be removed, the engrams, the root patterns. How was that process during inner awakening, especially in Haridwar, such a sacred place, being in Swamiji's presence and having daily darshan initiations? How was this program?
The first program back in 2014 July. Oh gosh. Well, even though I had that feeling of intense, open, and knowingness when I first saw Swami G, still the whole program parts of me were not ready to, fully get on board and fully align and fully surrender and all that. So I was having an internal process of like, hey, who is this guy? Can this be real? What's going on? And I didn't have a Hindu background at all. I came from a Western background. Um, and the program was very, very intense and basically just emotional catharsis was happening the whole program. And only close to the end, like the third to last day, I had a state of like complete surrender and said, okay, I'll say complete surrender is to the degree that I could at that time. And fully told him, okay, this is my guru. He is doing good to me. He is getting me to where I need to go. I can align with him and go where I need to go. So that being said, the completion process, I went through a number of inner awakenings, and the completion process, and it's actually happening right now in Paramashiva Sena program, the UAN delegates program, the samskara dahana kriya process, where you heal all these patterns in your past. When you're doing it under the supervision in the energy field of Swami G, when you're doing it with the Sangha under an incarnation's supervision, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it that you'll ever have in any other environment. So what you do is you list for people who are following, incompletions are patterns that are created in our psyche in response to an event that made us feel powerless, that felt like a traumatic, something like that. So in these experiences, we make a judgment about ourselves and about the world that then becomes, it's like an engraved pattern in response to that experience, which is called an engram or a samskara. And so in this process, you bring up all of those and you speak them. You write them down to yourself and then you speak them to others. And because you're doing it in the presence of an avatar, and because you're doing it alongside all the other initiations and the lifestyle steps people are taking in those programs, all of these patterns just get lifted out of the system. So depending on the intensity of the pattern, there may be a big emotional catharsis, could be crying or something like that. Or it could be an awareness. Oh, when I have this experience in the outside world, it triggers this past experience in me, and then my understanding of the past experience overrides my ability to be in the present, in the moment. And it basically, I go on autopilot and it can take me away from where I want to go, right? So when you have that clarity and you can see, I'm coming out of the reality of the moment I'm in and going into this engraved overriding program from the past. As soon as you have the clarity that that's going on, you can just step out of that program from the past. And then once you are able to step out of it, and once any emotion that's kept in it is released, then it just dies away. And so then you become one step connected into reality, and one step out of your mind. It's like because of all the patterns and the samskaras we have, we're living in a labyrinth, like the Minotaur from Greek mythology. We're living in this labyrinth, and there's no way out other than to dissolve the labyrinth itself. So the completion process does that. So for the first inner awakening, I just had so much of that, so much. And even after I went back home, it was a July, I went back home and it just continued. That whole process of completion just intensely continued. And I couldn't even think of doing anything else. Until the next May, I did the next program. And then from there, it just kept on going. So what I've found there are many spiritual paths within Hinduism, and of course many spiritual paths outside of Hinduism. But what I found most fundamentally and at its core, doing the completion process and dissolving all the karmas that hold us in a deluded, in a bound state is really the ultimate path to a higher consciousness and liberation. So the July Inner Awakening was the first step for me onto that path, and I've been on it ever since.
So beautiful, yeah. And you've mentioned also how you have no background in Hinduism at all. But now look at you. You are not just practicing Hinduism and living Hinduism as taught by Swamiji, but you're also a pujari at the KAILASA USA temple. Offering the daily sevas and prayers and rituals to the deities as per the agamas as taught by Swamiji. So very authentically. And I mean you've also mentioned that you were skeptical in the beginning, and I think that's fair given that you were born and brought up in the West, and you have a Western medical background. And but what was it that changed your mind? What was the what convinced you basically that Swamiji's solutions, whatever Swamiji's teachings, that are rooted in the Vedas and Agamas of Hinduism, they are real and effective? What was that experience that you've had with Swamiji that basically convinced you?
So this is going to be an unorthodox answer, so bear with me. But actually, Swamiji, I first connected with Swamiji in the non-physical before I met him physically. So that happened in 2009. It was a very intense experience that really ramped up my seeking. And so even before I had met him physically and knew who he was and all that, I was still working with him, you could say. And even before that, actually. But I was on another spiritual path that was based on duality, which you could say an Abrahamic tradition based on duality means there's something separate from me, and I have to separate from me and separate from us, right? From the spiritual group I was in, and we have to basically take it on and win in order to create the reality that we want. And so there was all this spiritual practices tied into that. And it was in 2012 August, and it was again an experience that I'll never forget. But I just went into Turiya, the space of Turiya, which many of you may know. Turiya is the fourth space, is the literal translation in Sanskrit, and it's a space from which, if you ever want to know about Turiya, there's a documentary on Ramana Maharshi called Jnani, Jnani, talks about it at length. But basically, I was in a space where I knew that I was me and I was in this body, but I also knew as much as I am me here, I was the same amount of me in every person I was talking to. And not only every person was me as much as me, but the space between was also me as much as I am me. And all the furniture, everything, there was nothing that was not me. So a very complete sense of oneness with everything. And now I couldn't have any thoughts. The TPS means thoughts per second. There was like zero. And I was even going through the exercise of trying to create a thought, manufacture a thought. I could not make one. If I made one, just through my pure intention, I could keep it there. As soon as I stopped actively going to make it, it would just dissolve. And so I went into some of the spiritual practices from that space, and I realized they were all that it was all Maya. It was all kind of the mind creating its own thing. There was no existential reality to it. There was no permanence to it. It was all basically delusion based, you could say. And I was also aware that all the other beings that I was with in this program and organization, they were not in the same space as me, and they could not understand what I was experiencing. And I knew what I was experiencing was like a peak ultimate experience for human consciousness. That was before I went to the Inner Awakening. After Inner Awakening, a lot of that time when I was in that program, I was on the edge of that Turiya space as well. But I could tell Swami G was there and much more. And I could tell, some of the monks and some of the experienced people were, I could feel their consciousness to be abutting that space, you could say. And so I knew, even before I had met Swamiji in Hindu traditions, I had tasted this space, which I found the home of that space was the Vedagamic tradition. And so I knew I was switching from duality to non-duality, right? From Abrahamic to Dharmic. I knew I was making that transition. And then I went back right after the first Inner Awakening. I went back to this other program with the other organization, and it just seemed like, it was like, okay, this is cute, but I know what is the ultimate. I can say I can know what is the ultimate for me, but I also know it's the ultimate for all beings, having that possibility to go to the ultimate consciousness. So I just knew that the consciousness that radiates through Swamiji and through Swamiji's organization and through his strongest disciples is the end game consciousness. And I had tasted enough other things that it was very, very clear to me. And of course, all the various spiritual practices, the completion process, they were just at the very beginning of manifesting powers at that time. SDK, the yoga, the initiations, all of them were along the same lines, where I just knew this is the lineage, this is the ultimate lineage. I'll say for me, just to be diplomatic, but I know this is the ultimate lineage, this is the way to go. So it was very, very clear to me at that point that even though I had a Western background, I was born to be in this tradition, which transcends ultimately ideas. It's Eastern, but it transcends ideas of Eastern and Western. Even that is and ultimately it is that division is not made at the level of Shiva, right? That division is made at the level of Maya. So I knew I was in a transcendent. I had found the transcendent path, and that I was. There was no going back. You could say there was only going forward. If that makes sense.
Yes, definitely, it makes sense. So beautiful. And for our viewers who might be new to terms such as samskaras, we'll now watch a video by Swamiji where Swamiji beautifully explains how we can redesign our life. And he says that the first step is actually to heal the mental scars, the samskaras or the engrams that we are carrying. And many of these samskaras are actually from past lives. And so these samskaras or engrams distort our perceptions. They block the natural thinking and trap us in suffering, in addiction, emotional pain, and also diseases, whether mental diseases or physical diseases. So now let us watch the discourse from Swamiji to learn more about how you can redesign your life and be freed from any kinds of suffering, whether mental sufferings or physical sufferings.
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Today's subject is heal your mental scars to redesign your life. First, you need to heal your mental scars. Some of us carry even physical scars due to the mental scars happened in the previous birth. Please understand. I have seen many people carrying the physical marks, scars related to previous birth sufferings or incidents. I have some Shastra Pramana from ancient rishis and modern day rishis, scientists. Here is a scientist, Joseph Chilton, says, samskaras or engrams are fixed predispositions carried in our subtle body that warp the neutral flow of energy and deliver pseudo-information to the brain, resulting in disturbance in natural processing of information the brain is designed to provide us. Oh God. I have seen even my loving word, sometimes people take it so hurtingly. Even firing words, people take it very lovingly. Just because of their samskara in which they are caught. The most dangerous thing in the planet Earth is to relate with a person who has samskaras. Means talking is most dangerous thing in the world. I tell you really. Talking is most dangerous thing in the world. When people suffer with samskaras, anything they see is disturbed, like the sound. See, the sound is a samskara. Anything you hear will be disturbed. The outside sound itself can disturb so much, means inside sound, what will happen? The inside sound is what I call samskaras. It delivers pseudo-information. First things human being should learn before the age of 14 is to establish yourself on certain awareness. I can call that state as a pratyagatma chaitanya jagratam, means an individual awareness is awakened. To that level, all children have to be established basically in that level. Only then human civilization is possible. Till then, whatever we are having is just hell, where nobody is ready to listen to anybody. Everybody is suffering with their own engram, and no relationship is possible. Today morning I was reading a book. Same soul, many bodies. There is a doctor who wrote a few books on this past life regression. Many lives, many masters. He wrote many books on past life regression. Today morning I was browsing through these two books. It was revealing how we are loaded with samskaras, engrams, and how every moment our perception brings suffering to us. Once I asked a brahmachari, what do you want? He told me that I should be established in samadhi state, always. The moment he said, I just looked into him deeply. His being did not even want to see me. He just put his head down and ran away. Because the being do not even know the meaning of the word which it is uttering. Being established in samadhi means completely engram free. But if I take out even 100 engram out of that person, the being will feel empty. No, I think too much is losing. I am losing too much. This engraved memory is such a danger. It can go on and on and on, projecting your life as a hell. It can go on making you retain that heaviness in your heart. Whatever you may be doing, whatever may be happening, but it can retain that heaviness. The engraved memory, the engrams, can constantly divert you from the seeking. Understand, this frustration is nothing but laziness. There is no such thing as frustration. Understand, when this question really haunts you, sync with that question. It will only create more and more inspiration in you. Because I have seen, whenever I used to look in, who am I, what am I, what is happening around me. I think yesterday I told you an incident in Yoga Sutra, Patanjali Yoga Sutra. There was a snake in the polytechnic I was studying. I was walking from my college to the hostel. On the way there was mechanical workshop one side and the ladies' hostel other side. From the ladies' hostel, 2-3 people were shouting, snake, snake. And I was on the main road. Few workers ran to kill that snake. But that snake got into the snake hole. It escaped. I had one technique of creating a particular sound. So animals will listen to that sound and do what you say. It won't work on human beings, it will work only on animals. So I had this science from this Narayana Swami Tata, adapting the science of mantras. And I just tried. And I saw that snake become unconscious and started moving towards me. When it came near me, just 10 feet, I saw, because that snake was unconscious and is being dragged towards me, on the way it got injured, wounded by many thorns, so much bleeding. The moment I saw that something happened to me, that something broke in me, the deep compassion and love of God. This fellow did not kill anybody and he did not hurt anybody. Why did I cause so much suffering to him? Just I broke and sat down in the road itself. I still remember very clearly. The snake was just 10 feet from me. And I stopped creating that sound. The snake came out of that unconsciousness. Now if he wants, he can bite me and kill me. I decided, whatever suffering I caused, whatever happens, let it happen. I am going to surrender. Then I saw that guy, he just lifted his head and looked at me, poisonous snake. And he just licked his wounds. I could see very clearly, immediately it got healed. I am still wondering whether the snake is something extraordinary or some higher level being. Still I have no clue. He licked his wounds It just immediately got healed. And again he looked at me, put his head down and went back. Did not bother about me. This was churning me for such a long time. That Brahmanatva in me means that not letting go the true seeking. That Brahmanatva in me could not tolerate this whole incident. I could not forget. And it was just churning me. Oh God, what did I do? Why did this happen? What is the truth of this whole thing? And it was so strong. Actually, end of that, when that started disappearing, I only got established in deep compassion. Then I went back to that Swami, that Narayana Swami, and asked him, what is this? What have you done to me? What did I do? Why did you teach me this and why did I use this? And it brought me so much of hurt, wound. And he told me, what the mantra need to do, it has done to you. He said very beautifully, extraordinary powers are given to you to show that even ordinary is not worth living. See, if you can suddenly break this chitsabha, like a small bamboo, and fold it and put it in your consciousness, this is an extraordinary power. Just like how anything made out of wax, you can just melt it. Like that, this whole chitsabha can be melted and put in the consciousness just by sound vibration. If I can do this power proves even the ordinariness is not worth reality. It is not the solid reality. See, whenever you can break the ordinary rules, it is extraordinary. The ability to break the ordinary rules and make yourself extraordinary is not supposed to bring extra ego. It is supposed to tell you the ordinariness itself is worthless. That is why you are able to break it. So he said, that is what exactly the lesson you need to learn. You learnt it. Forget about it. That's all. After that, neither I was able to create that sound, nor that mantra worked with me. Neither I could do, nor I tried. It did not work. I forgot about the whole thing. But the lesson was learned. Understand? Because there was no engram, any click became energy. If you feel you are searching that who am I, and finally you felt frustration, understand, you are stuck with the laziness. So you need to break the laziness. You cannot have frustration. If you have frustration, understand, the laziness is stopping your seeking. Because in my case, no seeking has led me to frustration. It only led me to more and more energy. After that snake incident, yesterday, I think if you hear the whole Patanjali Yoga Sutra, you will understand. After that seeking, that churning, which was there for at least 3-4 months, it only led me to more energy, more understanding. Now, if I have any more experience like that, I am ready to go for deeper seeking, deeper experience. I am not frustrated about it. Same way, if you feel that you have started searching who am I, after some time you are feeling frustrated, it means you don't want to do it once more. No. I have seen sometimes these guys get into some foolish mess in the mental setup and do not want to meditate anymore. It's like a cat which tried to drink hot milk. Once it gets the wound in his tongue, will never ever go near the milk again. So, if there is a frustration about any higher truth, disillusion, any about higher idea, it is laziness you are stuck. Break it. Understand? Laziness stored in your core muscles should be broken by yoga. Laziness stored in your brain muscles should be broken by again and again and again practicing. Again and again and again. No way. Don't leave. Practice. Sadhana, sadhana, sadhana. Because in the journey of sadhana, even if you die, whatever is achieved will come with you. That's what in the young age I used to be told. And I used to believe the only thing which can come with you is the time you spend in seeking and finding the truth, accumulating which cannot be taken away from you, acquiring which cannot be taken away from you. So, the engrams are fixed predispositions carried in our subtle body that warp the neutral flow of energy and deliver pseudo-information to the brain. When I say something, do something, you will have your own interpretation for it. Then you are caught, suffering and big messing up, resulting in disturbance. In the neutral processing of information, the brain is designed to provide us. I can say, samskaras are responsible for all brain-related disorders. Whether it is Alzheimer's or brain hemorrhage, anything I can say. Anything related to brain, all the damage, samskaras are responsible. Releasing the samskaras you collected in this birth is the first, foremost spiritual practice. These three can be a powerful technique to release the samskaras which you accumulated in this birth. One, cathartic meditation techniques like Manipura Shuddhi Kriya, Bastrika Pranayama, Kabalbhati Pranayama, or Sambhavi Mudra Pranayamas, or heavy Samana Yoga like a weightlifting, intense running, heavy swimming. Even that can be a powerful, very powerful catharsis. Physical activity. These all can be the first level, cathartic techniques. The second level, the mind level, that samskara dahana kriya. Go on writing and speaking out, speaking out, speaking out. See, the samskara dahana kriya, if you do once or twice, don't think it is done. No. At least 21 days, every day it should be done. Every day, it should be done like a ritual. Sitting and talking out to various people, various situations. So, various layers will open up actually. You should do all these things like a courses. You should develop courses. Just for catharsis, we can develop a 21-day course. The morning 3 hours of intense physical activity, and noon 3 hours of only samskara dahana kriya, and evening 3 hours of either reasonless crying or reasonless laughing. Understand? I am giving you clear signs of catharsis. Morning 3 hours of cathartic techniques, as I described: Kabalbhati, Bastrika, Manipuraga Sutti Kriya, heavy Samana Yoga like 108 Surya Namaskar, heavy weightlifting, swimming, running, physical activity. These all can be the physical layer catharsis. This should be 3-hour session in the morning. And noon, 3 hours of only samskara dahana kriya. Go on digging, writing and talking to different people. Samskara dahana kriya. This should be a 3-hour session. And evening, just 3 hours of reasonless laughing or crying. If you laugh, you will start crying. If you cry, you will start laughing. The first layer will cleanse the muscle memory. The second layer will cleanse the brain memory engrams. Third layer will cleanse the consciousness. In 21 days, I can promise any man will have yogic body and Vedic mind just with these 3 processes. Very simple process. 9 hours a day. Nothing else to be done. All other remaining hours he has to just eat and sleep. Nothing else. Because the body will be completely tired and may need rest. Nothing else is required. 21 days. Catharsis program. In this 21 day, the whole engram which you accumulated from the date time of your birth to this moment will be emptied. You will be cleansed. I can promise at least 10 important benefits you will have. Release from all addictions. When I say all, I mean all. Release from all the trauma you accumulated. Release from all the wounds, emotional wounds. Release from all phobias. When I say all, I mean all. Release from all tirednesses. Physical, mental, fatigue. Please understand. It may look too big promise, but it's truth. Release from all emotional blockages. Release from all physical diseases happened because of psychological problems, psychological disorders. All the chronic disease which happened because of psychological disorders will disappear. And ability to create the body as you want. You will become your own Brahma. Ability to create your own mind as you want. Just this 21 day, morning 3 hours of heavy physical catharsis. Noon, 3 hours of samskara dahana kriya. 3 hours means 3 hours you have to talk. Talking about your past. 3 hours you have to talk. And evening, 3 hours you have to continuously either cry or laugh for no reason. In Zen they use the technique of crying or laughing for no reason. You need guts to tell people to do something which they don't understand logically. I tell you, these three things combined together, I can say this will be the ultimate catharsis. The level 1 past, to be rid of the level 1 past, this is the ultimate program. Just ultimate program. Morning 3 hours of heavy physical workout, samana, to be balanced. Noon 3 hours of samskara dahana kriya. Evening 3 hours of crying or laughing for no reason. I can promise, any problem related to the first layer, past living, means the moment you took birth to this moment, anything you accumulated will be completely burnt away. It will disappear from your system. You will be fresh, alive. You will be a new being to start your life fresh again. I have some more scientific researches. Dr. Timothy McCall says, the brain is pliable and capable of developing new neurons, neural pathways and memories as you create new habits and life patterns even in adults. Feel fortunate. You don't need to worry that you missed the Gurukul lifestyle in the young age. Have the interest and intensity like a kid's. You can become a Gurukul child again and grow in the feet of Rishi. Grow in Naimisharanya. Naimisharanya is available for you. Only you need to say whether you are available for it or not. A new research by Irvin, neuroscientists, suggests that memories exist even when forgotten. Wow. That is what I call the deeper level memories. For that reason only I wanted that evening session of laughing or crying for no reason. With the help of advanced brain imaging techniques, the scientists discovered that a person's brain activity while remembering an event is very similar to when it was first experienced, even if specifics can't be recalled. Oh God. It's a very powerful revelation. Let me read out once more. A new research by Irvin, a neuroscientist, suggests that memories exist even when forgotten. With the help of advanced brain imaging techniques, the scientists discovered that a person's brain activity while remembering an event is very similar to when it was first experienced, even if specifics can't be recalled. This level memories can be released, the engrams can be released only by that crying or laughing for no reason. Actually, in the beginning only it will be very difficult to open up, that crying and laughing for no reason. Once you open up, so much will leave your system. I can say this weight reduction, bodybuilding, the whole thing can happen in these 21 days. Alright, now I declare this 21-day program, I'll make it as a free program. People, anybody can come and stay and do. Let them take care of their accommodation and food. Let the ashram charge just for that. We will provide a facility. Actually, once in 3 months we will conduct this program. 21 day just for this. We will provide one facilitator who manages, who takes care, who conducts that program. Because this will be one of the greatest service to humanity. I tell you, helping human beings to be rid of their engrams, their sufferings, their addictions, phobias, fears, and unnecessary fat will be the greatest service. Once somebody goes through this program, he will be ready for past lives regression. Once the prarabdha is cleansed, he will be ready to get into sanjita, so that he will not accumulate agamya at all and live a jivan mukta life. But it is possible. It is possible to live without accumulating agamya. So this program of cleaning the past living engrams can become a 21-day independent workshop. Very powerful workshop to help human beings. We will provide a space and facilitator for them to go through. We will create an ambience where all the situation is available for them to do that heavy samana yoga and cathartic techniques and the samskara dahana kriya and the intense reasonless crying or laughing. This will be the powerful therapy. I can say this will be one of the very powerful therapy. From all the past engrams, they will be released. This will be one of the greatest service we will be providing for the whole humanity. Some more researches. A new research at the Neuroscience University of Zurich tracked the molecular basis of memories. Professor Isabel Mansoy of Zurich University of Cognitive Neurosciences says the enzyme calcineurin and specific gene factors determine the intensity of our emotional memories. They have tracked down the whole thing to a physical level. I can say this catharsis will completely alter this specific gene factor and the very enzyme calcineurin. So maybe let this process, the solution be used by humanity. And I really feel everywhere, all over the world, our temples and ashrams should see this message and design the programs as per this message and start conducting the therapy courses and classes in their places. That is the way I wanted the whole new enlightened civilization to evolve, to happen for modern day human beings. That's the only way we can help for the new civilization. Otherwise, see how long we can be conducting programs just in this one place and thinking of evolving a new civilization. No. All our infrastructures, our satsang centers, temples, ashrams, the communities, all of them should see every day this kind of morning message and evolve this program. Start developing this program and start conducting, because after all there is no side effect. Only side effect is enlightenment. No problem. People should start conducting these programs on their own with these instructions, understandings. That is the way I really wanted our communities to evolve, our satsang centers to evolve, our temples to evolve, our ashrams to evolve, our devotees and disciples to evolve into new man and share the signs to the world to evolve new human beings. So I bless you all to evolve as new human beings and radiate enlightenment. Let you all achieve and radiate enlightenment, live, achieve, experience, express and radiate the eternal bliss. Nithyananda. Thank you.
Very powerful revelations from Swamiji, and how Swamiji is about samskaras, the engrams that have so much impact on us, cleansing these engrams through the catharsis. And Swamiji even in a very detailed way, explained how to do this catharsis and how it has, it has that power of healing physical or mental issues, ailments that we may be going through. So, Dr. Peter, we have today a guest who has been sharing his experiences, but would like to understand, Aya, from a clinical point of view, how would you explain what happens in the brain and body when someone goes through this kind of deep cleansing that Swamiji had explained?
Oh, that's a great question, Ma. You picked this video. This video was all about catharsis. I don't know exactly why you picked this video, but that is my niche in the spiritual practice is catharsis. That's why my voice is like this husky, because that's just what I do. And so I'm so happy to see this video, and I'm gonna get the link from you after, because I think it's such a valuable satsang for people to see. Now, you're asking what happens in the measurable level with catharsis, right? I can say it's very difficult to study that, but I can put forth some theories. If you saw the research that was done around gene expression, I don't know if you remember, it was done in like mid-20 teens, where they found people who had Kundalini awakening, who had done inner awakening.
Actually, yeah. Sorry, just for the sake of our audience here, if you can explain the research that was done, so that they are able to actually better understand. Like if you can just please give a brief introduction to the research, Aya. I think that would help a lot. Thank you so much.
That's exactly what I was doing. And I have to be very brief because our time is limited, right? But basically there was a doctor who drew blood from the participants at the beginning of inner awakening and drew it at the end. And he looked at the difference in gene expression, means which genes in the body are active and which genes are not active. And what they found is that after Kundalini awakening, all these genes that are pro-inflammatory, that cause inflammation of the body, after Kundalini awakening, all these pro-inflammatory gene pathways were turned off. So much less pro-inflammatory proteins were made, and all these pathways that were anti-inflammation were greatly enhanced. So much more proteins that support the body to reduce inflammation were there. So basically, effectively, the DNA of participants was changed so that they were making less inflammation in their body. So I am comfortable to theorize with a degree of confidence that catharsis itself and the completion process is going to have exactly that effect. So there will be just less inflammation in the body. Even the diet that we eat, many of us eat, is called the mucus-free diet that Swami G has recommended, encouraging everyone to look it up out there. Food that causes less inflammation of the body. Because if you look at almost every chronic disease and many acute diseases, they're all linked to inflammation. They call it stress. Stress is a psychological inflammation, but also inflammation at the level of the body and physiology of the body. So this cathartic process is going to reduce inflammation in the body because it removes inflammation of the mind. Means when we're carrying samskaras, pieces of us are in conflict with other pieces of us. It causes stress and inflammation. So by resolving these things through cathartic processes and completion, there will be less inflammation in the mind, and that'll be felt at the molecular level, less inflammation in the body, and even the gene expression will change. Now, that would also probably, I would theorize, and we would have to show, people would be able to enter more into a low thoughts per second, or TPS state. TPS is a term, thoughts per second, that correlates to exactly how it sounds. How much the monkey mind is going, how many thoughts are there. So this cathartic and completion processes will relate to reduced thoughts per second, more quiet mind. And then on an EEG, which is a modality of great interest to me, I would theorize, and we would want to demonstrate scientifically, that they'll have more gamma activity in their mind. So again, these things are, just to give a brief summary, high frequency brain waves that are connected with flow state, inspiration, high creativity, high level of positivity, and even oneness. These are associated with gamma waves, which are very high frequency brain waves, which are just now people are beginning to understand the importance. And Swami G and this pathway has a specific relationship to big high amplitude gamma waves, which we could talk about at another time, but it's basically the superconscious state, right? So this cathartic process would support people to get into a conscious state and have the possibility for superconsciousness. So in the EEG, it would show up in gamma waves, high frequency brain waves. How they feel, which we already know just from talking to people and watching it unfold. A sense of bliss, euphoria, presence, oneness, compassion, very, very strong, positive, and engaged feeling. So all of these would be the effects of cathartic processes, like Swamiji is talking, both at the mental, psychological, and physical, and even electroencephalographic level.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, I have one more question. Given that you are, medical doctor, how has Swamiji's teachings?
It just cut out, man. So the question was, as a medical doctor, how has Swamiji's teachings? So I'll just run with that for now, because there may be a tech issue going on. So as a medical doctor, Swamiji's teachings have just revolutionized my experience of acting as a doctor, and I'll share some funny little anecdotes that give a sense of that. So there was one time we often deal with people in irregular heart rate, irregular heart rhythms in the emergency department. So the heart should be beating, 80 beats per minute or something like that, and it should be fairly regular. When it becomes irregular, people will feel dizzy. They could even faint. If it's irregular enough, they could have a drop in their blood pressure. Even they could lose consciousness. Even, if the heart stops, of course, you're not going to live very long, right? So an irregular heart rate is called an arrhythmia. It's a very dangerous thing that we often see in the ER. And I remember one time when I was in the ER, I was in a very high consciousness place, means very low thoughts per second, very high level of bliss, very high level of awareness. And there was a patient in a room who was having an arrhythmia. And we had seen it on the EKG, and then I walked in the room. And as soon as I went into the room, the patient went into normal rhythm. The arrhythmia just went away. And I think I walked out, and then it came back into arrhythmia. And I walked back in, and it went away again. So the point there is people who are embodying a high level of consciousness, who have been following the teachings and attained to a high space of consciousness, it can be like contagious. It can spread to other people. So you could say the way that Swami G can heal so many people is he's in this extreme space of super consciousness, extreme high consciousness. And then he can transmit enough of that into someone else's body that their body gets to taste that extreme super conscious space long enough for the physical healing to happen. Of course, to live in that space, you have to do a lot of spiritual work and all that. But just to taste that space will have a huge healing effect on the body. So I had that experience firsthand myself, working as an emergency doctor one time. And then, Ahmad, do you want to finish that question that you were asking? Or I can tell another story.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah, sorry, I was having some internet issues here. What I was
No problem.
asking was, as being a medical doctor, right? How has your understanding about healing changed after Swamiji came into your life? The holistic healing that Swamiji has given, not only in the physical level, to conscious level and multidimensional healing. How has this changed your understanding of healing?
Yeah, so much of what we do in the Western medical field and in the emergency department will heal. Let's say someone has a pneumonia, we'll give them antibiotics. The pills will carry chemicals that kill the bacteria, and then the person can become healthy. Or if their arm is broken, we'll put the bones back where they belong, and then over time it will heal. And that's really good. It's really great. If you have a broken arm, that's exactly what you want. But one thing we often see in Western medicine, allopathic medicine, is that people will heal one thing. They'll get the medicine, the treatment, whatever. As soon as it's healed, the next thing comes up. And then the next thing comes up, and the next thing comes up. And so it's like, as long as they're having the same thoughts, the TPS is going in a negative way. They're carrying in their body the same samskaras. Even their gene expression will be affected. All that. They're likely to reproduce more states of discomfort, dis-ease, right? That's the origin of the word disease, means a lack of ease, right? So it'll be manifest one way or another. So I have a tremendous regard for emergency medicine, allopathic medicine. And also, I know you would optimally have everyone, not just patients, right? Because almost everyone is feeling some degree of discomfort at some time in their life. Most people, a lot of discomfort, a lot of their life, right? So holistic healing is like this, like we're talking, this cathartic process, this completion process, these lifestyle changes, these practices that Swamiji was talking in that satsang. If you are actively working, and even you were talking about making a civilization, right? It's hard to base a civilization based on so much confusion and disease and discomfort. It's hard to inspire people to make a civilization based on, there will be people there to give me a pill when I have discomfort that will, help. I mean, that's better than if you don't have them. But the ultimate civilization will be built on, there's very little discomfort. We're just blissful and we're in a positive and engaged and interactive space a lot of the time. And not only that, we're collectively working together so that more of us can be in that space, right? So holistic healing happens to some degree at the individual level, but it also happens at the community level. and ultimately at the civilization level, and at the national and supranational level. So all of these practices, no doubt, are effective individually. And like, for me, I know, for example, I don't get sick. I almost never get sick. My voice is not gone because I'm sick. No, it's because I'm doing completion processes. I don't get sick. I was telling you before, I couldn't come on a couple of days ago because my knee was bad, right? And it started Thursday last week. Discrete moment, I didn't do anything. Suddenly my knee was bad. And I do certain spiritual processes, and I got the messaging from myself. This was just a completion. It has to do with my relationship with male masculine figures, because the right side of our body is connected with the masculine, the left side is connected with the feminine, and just to do completion around it. And so I did, and now it's like it never happened, right? My knee is totally back to normal. And so anytime I have a physical complaint, I always check in. What is going on? What is the emotional component? What is the karmic component? What do I need to look at? What do I need to attend to? What parts of me need to be seen and heard? And then I just, anytime something comes up, it usually is quickly resolved. In this, like it really is completely gone. So I know it will be beautiful when we have a society that has the fluency and the literacy to heal in this way. I don't mind even if I'm out of a job and all that, right? Because we'll be so far beyond ideas of medical care and medical need. The possibilities that we have for living at a healed level, at an individual, community, society, national level, have been so untapped. So that's one big inspiration I have, is to demonstrate and show and share the possibility enough that is there, that more and more people step into that pathway and that lifestyle, and then more and more we start to create that reality around us. So yeah, as a doctor who has tasted this, I feel very strongly we have so much potential to live in a healed space and to be operating through healed vehicles, this beautiful vehicle we have. Let it operate fully high functioning at a healed space. Our lifespans will be extended. Our experience of youth will be much more. And the social ripple effects are indescribable.
Actually, you brought one important point, right, about the thoughts per second. If you don't change the thoughts per second, if you don't change your thought patterns as to how you think, you can keep on treating the physical disease, but you will keep getting it again and again, because what is causing that disease is not treated. The root of the problem is not treated. Often in Western medicine, you have a stomachache, you go, you're given a medicine, you come back. You go have a headache, you're given a medicine, you come back. But what causes that headache? What causes that stomachache? If that root of the problem is not treated, for lifetime you're sitting there having medicine, right? The solution that Swamiji has given, not only this catharsis process that Swamiji explained about, but even the preventive care of the lifestyle that Swamiji has given, starting from having, the first thing in the morning, the routine of having turmeric water or neem juice or, the castor oil, and throughout the vegetarian food, the yoga, the complete Charyapada lifestyle, all the way up to having Haritaki at night before going to sleep, cleansing the stomach, right? Like this, a beautiful lifestyle, not only at the individual level, but having that ecosystem that is around you, that is living, and the effect of the food, the effect of the sound, the effect of the language, and the love and the care, the entire ecosystem that Swamiji has created for us, that ensures that we are healthy, not only physically, emotionally, mentally, psychologically, socially, conscious level. Entire beautiful way Swamiji takes care in a very preventive way. What I would like to ask you is, as a doctor, you beautifully said that I don't get sick. I don't get sick. And having said that, right, like how this lifestyle has impacted you in terms of your health and the lifestyle that Swamiji has given for the civilization, for the community. Can you share about that?
Sure. Like as I said, I really don't get sick, and whenever there's something going on in my body, I look into it and complete around it fully, right? So I'm very rarely affected by physical problems. And then because I'm a doctor, people often come to me and they say I have in the Sangha, right? And they say I have this problem, that problem. And I always recommend, of course, I'll put on my emergency doctor hat, right? And I'll look at what's going on. And, if it's bad, we go to the ER and get whatever needs to be done, right? But then somewhere in the conversation, there has to be, what is the psychological component? What is the psychology is just karma, right? There's no separation. It is one form of karma. So how are you feeling about it? What's going on? What is triggering this? I encourage people to dialogue with themselves. I'll just share this. This is one of my favorite things. Whenever there's a physical problem, let's say your shoulder hurts. If you're right-handed, right? With your right hand, you can say, hey, shoulder, why are you hurting? And then you put the pen in your left hand and you answer as the shoulder. And it'll say, oh, because you had this thing when you were in high school and somebody disrespected you, it was a male, you felt your masculinity, something like that. I'm just making that up. But you'll get information about it. And then the emotion will get triggered and the emotion will get released. And then the pain will be gone, right? So like I was thinking, if I didn't have this approach to my knee, how many people end up with a knee replacement, hip replacement? How many of these surgeries are done? Whereas if people had the mastery of this lifestyle, how many surgeries could be prevented? So yeah, I think, and even I remember one case that happened in Bididi. And there's a doctor there, I can't think of her name right now, but you know who I'm talking about. She did ultrasound-based practice in India before she became a sannyasi. And there was one patient and he had an infection in his foot. And they were giving antibiotics, so it wasn't getting better. And then she said to him, she pinpointed the cognition that he had that was making the infection happen. And she said, until you move this cognition, it'll be very hard for this to heal. And then at one point, you could see him just like let go and have the surrender and have the unclutching, we call it, and the catharsis. And the healing happened, and the next day his foot's fine, right? So it's like such a powerful supplement to have. Now, the challenge is, as a doctor, as a provider, it is hard to provide this unless you have done the work yourself, right? It's very hard. And medical doctors have so much on their plates in terms of the pharmacology, the kinesiology, all the laboratory, all the, how many journals are published every month, like so much medical knowledge to keep up with. It's very hard to have this time and space to work on oneself. And this brings me back to Siddha medicine. You know Siddha medicine. For people who don't know, Siddha is a very ancient Tamil practice based from Tamil Nadu, and it's a very mystical form of medicine, more mystical even than Ayurveda, but has a lot of similarities to Ayurveda, but the purpose to make people live as a divine being, right? Not just healthy, not just radiantly healthy, but living as a divine being. But you cannot practice Siddha medicine without raising your consciousness to a very high level. Same way, all these holistic medical approaches, they're best achieved by a provider who has raised their consciousness to that level. So when your TPS individually as a doctor or provider goes down, then you can bring that awareness to your patient and help them find that part of them that's get affected, and then their TPS can go down as well, right? So really invitation for anyone in the medical field to step into this pathway and do this work and do this personal development. and you'll be able to offer so much to your patients that you wouldn't otherwise be able to offer. Because you'll still have the knowledge, and actually as you develop further, you'll be able to access or attain the knowledge much more easily without confusion, delusion. But then you'll also have there's awareness on top of it that you can then provide to your patients. So it's a huge boon for any healthcare provider to give to their patients.
So beautiful, Aya. And actually, we have a comment here on the YouTube live, Aya, from Murti Aduri, and he's asking, Nityanandam, is there any practice for hallucinations in elders for healing? And actually, Swamiji has given so many solutions, whether it is yoga, meditation, pranayamas, kriyas, powerful cognition. Swamiji has given so many solutions for simple things. And actually, mentioning of kriyas, it reminds me, I don't know how many of you here know, but Swamiji has gone through unimaginable amount of persecution for the last 15 years now, just because he is reviving authentic Hinduism, whether it is authentic yoga. Just because of that, Swamiji was illegally jailed for 51 days, and where he was also tortured. But do you know, during this 51 days, Swamiji actually wrote manuals on 108 kriyas. I mean, just imagine, one side, he is persecuted, illegally put in jail for reviving Hinduism, and he's also at the same time being tortured. He was not given food. He was prevented from sleep. They created such conditions where they did not allow Swamiji to sleep or offer puja, or he was not even allowed food. But even then, the amount of compassion, overflowing compassion, love, for humanity, Swamiji actually wrote manuals for the kriyas while he was illegally jailed. So I would like to, as a doctor, actually, I would like to invite you to answer this question for our viewer here, Murti Aduriaya, who is asking, is there any practice for hallucinations in elders for healing? And from you've been listening to Swamiji's discourses, the powerful cognitions, and you've also been practicing the solutions that Swamiji has given to humanity. So from that context, would you please share with our viewer here, yeah, what is the solution that we can give to him from Swamiji's revelations?
Yeah, sure. So I have a few thoughts in hearing that. The first thing is, it would be important, and Swamiji always emphasizes, to get checked out through the conventional medical system, right? Because even something like a tumor or something could cause hallucinations like that. So even electrolyte problems could cause confusion, illusion, things like that. So getting a physical check, making sure there's no obvious correctable physical issue there. The next thing, very common in dementia, when elderly people develop dementia, they will have symptoms like hallucinations. So dementia and Alzheimer's dementia is fascinatingly extremely rare in Indian rural villages where they still practice Hinduism authentically. It's like the rarest in the world. And also, I was talking about gamma waves before. So gamma waves and Alzheimer's dementia are inversely correlated. So when people have gamma activity, they do not develop Alzheimer's dementia. And even it can be, we have an animal model that suggests it could be reversed in humans. And all these practices, the Charyapada, the lifestyle of Hinduism and all that, even there's a video that is worth looking at where a woman has people chanting Rudram. And while they're chanting Rudram, or even listening to other people chant Rudram, their brain goes into gamma. So all these practices that Swamiji is bringing would support people to go into a higher space of consciousness and likely support gamma, and that could improve or reverse symptoms of Alzheimer's dementia, like hallucinations, if that makes sense. So if I had a family member who was experiencing that, if they had any connection to Hinduism or Swamiji optimally, or even if they're just open to it, I would expose them to darshans, if at all possible. If they can do yoga practices, the harataki, the castor oil. It's difficult for someone in that state to do completion catharsis, but they can be exposed to all the other things, and very many symptoms like this could get reversed, possibly, or turned around or greatly reduced. So, as I was saying, first thing I would do is I would do the conventional medicine, make sure there's no electrolyte problem, there's no structural issue, nothing like that. And then if you're looking at, often in dementia, people who have hallucinations, see people who are not there, be confused, separated from what's around them. Then I would look into all these lifestyle things that are part of Swamiji's teaching and see if they don't improve them or reverse them. And that would be my recommendation for this case. Anything more specific, I would probably need to have more information. But surely they could bring that person to a local provider who's aligned with Swamiji, and they may get some more ideas as well. That would be my recommendation.
Thank you so much, Aya. And I hope this answer your question, Murti or Duri, Aya. If you would like more clarifications, we welcome you to put your comments here. And thank you so much for all the viewers here who are commenting. We have Vicente Kisti, Sonia K, Valini, Supriya, and many more comments here. Thank you so much for your support and for listening in. And now we would like to watch the next discourse from by Swamiji, and where Swamiji very beautifully explains about the various ways, the various techniques, actually specifically 5 techniques for a stress-free living. This is something that most of us are suffering today, especially the kind of lifestyle that we are living, where we don't have enough time for spiritual practices such as yoga, daily rituals, and many of us here, we are living in a very stressful lifestyle. So let us watch the discourse from Swamiji, where Swamiji gives 5 simple techniques where you can overcome stress.
सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. I welcome you all with my love and respects. Today the subject is 5 techniques for stress-free life. I tell you, stressing anything, including technique, will make your life stress. I can give you 1,000 techniques for stress-free life. But if you start stressing the necessity of those techniques, you have stress. Without stress, you simply moving your right hand or left hand or head or body itself is a technique for stress-free life. Any simple movement in choicelessness is technique for stress-free life. So from morning till night, whatever you do, make it with understanding and choicelessness. That is the important thing. Do it out of free will. Anything you do, whether cooking or walking, talking, sitting and watching TV, or going to your job, eating, anything you do, add technical information about that into your system. Even breathing, add technical information about that in your system. Thinking, add technical information about that in your system. When I say technical information, how you are breathing, why you are breathing, where it is going to lead, is it going to lead you to where you want, or if your goal is something else, how to change your breathing for that. Same way for thinking. What you are thinking, why you are thinking, where is it leading you, is it going to lead you to the same space you want, or is it leading somewhere else, then how to change. That's all. Add technical information to all your actions. About walking, talking, breathing, doing anything. See, now you are ready for doing Guru Puja. Add complete technical information about that to your being. What am I doing? Where is it going to lead me? And what way this is going to help what I want. Completely being in tune with the technical information. When you are not in tune with the technical information, that is where the conflict and the stress starts. The problem is sometimes you want 2-3 different things which are self-contradicting. Now even that, if you bring right technical information about everything, then you will know very clearly which one to choose. And you are intelligent enough to know that you need to choose sometime only one, because only one can have place in your heart, your inner space. Only one can be done by your body. Only one can be experienced by your mind. Only one can be happening in you. So bringing that technical information clarifies the whole being. So I tell you, if the technical information is brought, everything you do is a technique for stress-free life. If the technical information is not added, even technique will add more stress in you. I know thousands of people stressed about not being meditating, are very stressed to meditate. Oh, today I have not done my kriya, today I have not done my meditation. Highly stressed. What for you want to do meditation? To be stress free. What a funny mental setup. the action or technique is not directly going to help you to be stress-free. The technical information is what going to make you stress-free. Understand? The action or technique is not going to make you stress-free. Technical information, that is going to make your life stress-free. Maybe I can give you some few techniques, kind of anesthesia for instant pain relief. For half an hour you will be stress-free because you are diverted to some other direction. But if you want stress-free life, you need technical information. If you want stress-free 1 hour, I can give you 5 techniques. Each technique will put you out of stress for 1 hour, 2 hours. But if you want stress-free life, then technical information about your whole day is needed. Iron out your whole day. Now it is too much in chaos. Iron it out. Ironing out your whole life is what I call spiritual routine. For some time, you need to spend in a clear routine. Even the Parivrajaka sannyasis, agoris, nagas, even those sannyasis who are wandering all over the world, even they stay in one place between Guru Purnima and Navaratri, the Chaturmasya. They observe Chaturmasya. They stay in one place and go through a kind of a spiritual routine just to iron out their whole life. Means adding technical information to whatever they are doing and making them stress-free. I can say this is one of the first teaching I want to give for all the ashramites and for the people who are dedicating their whole life for the spiritual enlightenment. If you have dedicated your whole life for enlightenment, this is the first thing you need to do. Ironing out your whole day. Everything you do should be consciously chosen by you and being celebrated or getting celebrated or celebrating celebration by you. Morning when you get up, why you brush? Why you clean your body? Why you take bath? Even those simple things, from that start. Is it directly adding? Is taking bath, is it directly leading me to my goal, enlightenment? If it is not, can anything be done? It gives me enlightenment also. Then apply the ash, Bhasma Snana. And when you pour the water, cold water on the body, feel the cold, feel the water all over the body. Let Vipassana be added to your bath. Means Vipassana means being in the boundary. You will see, when you are in the boundary and take bath, bathing not only purifies your body, it cleanses your mind. Because you never stay inside your body when you take bath. You are there somewhere and imagining, visualizing, fantasizing, duetting and what not. When you wake up from the bed, you should be completely having control over your body and inside the boundary. Just for 5 minutes, feel, yes, everything is working properly. Checking. I am there, I am here, yes. I am available to my body is available to me. Just with this simple clarity, take bath. Not only your body, mind will also be cleansed. Every step you do, same way if you have a right technical information, you will never feel lazy to do your morning exercise or yoga. It is lack of technical information which is not letting you do the technique. Lack of technical information leads you to the uselessness of technique, and how many thousand techniques are supplied to you? It will be just few days, like an initial fantasy. Then suddenly you will see, when the technical information is lacking, the technique has no more power over you, or you are not inspired anymore. It's like more stress to do the technique. Same way, any action you do, go on having clarity, technical information, till you fall asleep. When you fall asleep, remember, is this sleeping going to help me for enlightenment? What way I can use this sleeping for enlightenment? If you just consciously fall asleep, the whole few hours you are in bed is samadhi. Nidra samadhi sthitihi. Samadhi. So, consciously falling asleep is going to lead you to enlightenment. So now, understand the essence. I have given you the basic technique to make your whole life stress-free, one. But as these guys requested, I can give 5 techniques also. Morning, taking bath, consciously. Consciously take bath, take shower. That's the first technique. And consciously have your breakfast. And whatever your morning routine, whether it is going to office or going to school or going back to bed, do it consciously. And again, lunch, eat consciously. And again, dinner, eat consciously. And night, when you fall asleep consciously. 5 simple techniques which you can never avoid, because anyhow you are going to do all these 5. You may take exemption 1 or 2 days for taking bath. But otherwise all these 5 are going to be your life. So, simple technique, when I say the word simple technique, I am saying which you don't need to do something extra. These 5 are already part of your life. So just have technical information about all these 5. All these 5 will become technique for stress-free life. So have technical information and be stress-free. Live and radiate enlightenment. Live and radiate the eternal bliss. Nithyananda. Thank you.
From simple techniques to stress-free life, Swamiji actually gave us simple techniques to enlightenment. Whether it is headache or enlightenment, Swamiji gives the truth as it is and solutions for us. So today we are discussing a very important topic on health and the revelations of Swamiji on health. And we have many viewers around the globe watching us on different platforms. Murti Aduriyaya, Nithyanandam, Ma Devi Schuler, Ma Kavita Yadav, Ma Vesin, and Ma Sonia, and Parama Yoganandaya, Nithyanandam, Darshanaya, Nithyanandam, Sarvana Bhavoya, Nithyanandam. I hope every one of you found this session very useful and helpful. We have Dr. Peter Bloomfield, who has joined us, answering our questions as well as sharing his beautiful experiences with Swamiji. And Aya is an emergency physician in Los Angeles, California. Also a founding father of KAILASA from KAILASA, Los Angeles, joined us today to share his experiences. Aya, before we close the session, I still have one important question for you. As a doctor, you can see how Swamiji has contributed so much to, especially the field of health. What would you say is the most unique and revolutionary thing that Swamiji has brought into the field of health and wellness?
Which field, Ma? I couldn't quite make that out.
Sorry, in the field of health and wellness, what would you say is the most unique and revolutionary contribution that Swamiji has given?
Sincerely, I have to say, it is volitional high amplitude gamma waves, which may mean, to most people, won't mean anything at all. But it's, Swamiji can put his brain into high frequency waves at will, and when he initiates or heals others, he can put them into that space. So it is the electroencephalographic representation of superconsciousness. And I can tell you, I have talked to experts in the field. There is no other being who has been demonstrated to make that possibility both in themselves and transmit to others. That is what you get when you have incarnation of Paramashiva living in human body to bring superconsciousness to the world. With superconsciousness will come health, well-being, wealth, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, everything else that is there. But it is that they call him, in our Sangha, we call him the last flame, right? The being who has that possibility of consciousness and can transmit it to others. And so there's no book will have that. No, you won't find it any street corner like that. You can't just go talk to your friend, your relative, you won't get that from your doctor. I'm sorry. You won't get it anywhere else. So it's tapping into that superconscious source, that superconscious possibility. That brings health and everything else. So we're very blessed. Those of us who are even just watching, whether you know Swamiji or not, of course, those of us who are connected, we know the benefits. We're very blessed to have tapped into that superconscious possibility. And so let's just run with it, and as many people can plug into that, the best for our whole world, right? So that's my answer to you. You can say transmissible, volitional, high amplitude gamma waves is measured on EEG, or extreme superconscious base that can be transmitted through the grace of Guru, when your Guru is the ultimate. That's it.
Thank you so much, Aya. Thank you so much for giving that medical term as well as in simple English words. Basically, that thoughtless, highly awakened consciousness that Swamiji can simply transmit through initiation, even just through the Nayana Diksha, the Diksha that Swamiji gives to us. So thank you so much, Aya, for joining us today. And it was wonderful to have you and hear your experiences, especially as a medical doctor, an emergency doctor from Los Angeles, and your experiences. And we can see, just in the last two satsangs, of course, Swamiji has given a lot of revelations, especially in the field of medicine, that, a holistic health that can heal and help people without side effects. And these secrets, that ancient secret that has been part of our Hindu tradition, Hindu healthcare system, Swamiji has brought this again, reviving this and sharing with the world. So thank you so much, Aya, and thank you all the viewers for joining us today. And we had a very good session, and we hope to look forward to see you all tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, with yet another topic and revelations from Swamiji and yet another guest. Thank you all. Let us now close with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ तत्सत्। सर्वं भगवत् श्री नित्यानन्द परमशिवपादुकार्पणमस्तु। ॐ नित्यानन्दम्।